So, I, female 17, have been dating my boyfriend Mike, 16M, for about 3 months now. We're both juniors in high school, and everything has been going really well between us. We met through mutual friends about 8 months ago and hit it off quickly. He's funny, kind, and down to earth. We have an amazing relationship, but our financial situations are different. My family is pretty well off. Not rich, no mansions, yachts, etc., but we live in a nice house, take 1 to 2 vacations per year, and I don't really have to stress about money. I only work just so I'm not sitting at home doing nothing. That being said, I've always been taught not to flaunt it nor bring it up. We drive normal cars and live a fairly average lifestyle, even if we have more savings than others. I never talk about money with people. Mike's family doesn't have as much. He's mentioned how they struggle sometimes to pay bills and how they have to budget for everything. Because of this, he's made a few comments about rich kids being spoiled or out of touch, which is why I didn't bring up my family's situation. I didn't want him to see me differently or feel awkward about the differences between us. I don't care what his financial situation is. I love him anyway. He's seen my house and knows my parents run a business, but he doesn't know about all my parents' assets, which make a lot more money and is what keeps us comfortable. So he doesn't know how much we really have. Well, recently, Mike and I had dinner with my family along with cousins. We all sat down and talked about traveling in general, and one of my cousins mentioned a vacation home my parents had. She was talking about the cabin we had in the mountains. Our family loves camping and hiking, so we vacation there sometimes. Mike went quiet, but I could tell something was up. Later, when we were alone, he asked why I never told him that my family had so much money. I tried to explain that it wasn't something I thought was important, and I didn't want him to feel weird about it. Besides, he knew I was more well off than him. He just didn't know the full extent. That's when he got a bit upset and said something that caught me off guard. He mentioned how I could have helped him out with some of the things he's been struggling with financially, like gas money or when his car needed repairs a few months ago. He said that he was not asking for handouts, but he said it feels like I was hiding something from him when I could have made things easier. I told him I didn't want to make things awkward between us by offering money, and I didn't think it was my place to get involved with his finances. But now, he says, it feels like I wasn't being honest, and that maybe I don't trust him enough to share that part of my life. Over the next few weeks, Mike started getting a little invasive. He looked up my house on Zillow and was shocked at the value. Mike showed me his screen and was upset that he didn't know how rich we were. He also started looking up my family members on social media sites to see what they do and how rich they are. Cousins, uncles, aunts. I got really mad and told him I didn't appreciate him digging through my family life and my finances are not his business. I asked him to stop being weird. Mike then responded he was just trying to fully understand what my lifestyle is like, but I think he's going completely off the rails. I didn't mean for it to turn into such a big deal. I was just trying to avoid making him feel uncomfortable or like he was less than me. I also believed my family finances are irrelevant, but now I'm wondering if I should have been more open from the start. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments. Commenter, not the idiot. He's not asking for handouts, while checks notes, asking for a handout. Lol. Another commenter, if I had known you were rich earlier, I would have tried to manipulate money out of you sooner. You're so inconsiderate. Update, 3 days later. So when I made the original post, it was a few days after our argument. I wasn't going to post an update, but lots of people wanted one, and stuff actually happened, so here we go. Yesterday, I called Mike and asked if we could meet up for coffee to discuss what to do next. He agreed. As we talked, I explained my family's finances are private, and it was not my business to tell other people. The money isn't even technically mine, it's my parents'. This is why I didn't tell him. Mike didn't take this very well. He asked me how I could just watch him struggle for months and not do anything, how I pretended to feel bad for him when I didn't even understand how bad his life was. I responded that I did feel bad, and I have been supportive. I tried to get him a job at my parents' grocery store, but he didn't like it, so he refused. I would always give rides to him since gas was expensive. I offered gas money whenever he did drive me, but he always refused since he wanted to pay for me. Even just emotionally, I was trying to be as supportive as I could while he was stressed. I acknowledged that I don't understand how hard his life is because I've never lived it, but I've done my best to be supportive emotionally. Mike just dismissed all of that and said that wasn't the point. He said that for him, the money wasn't the issue, it was trust. He felt that I had kept something significant from him, and he's wondering what else I was hiding. He said that he wasn't asking for handouts, but knowing I had the means to help him, but chose not to, made him feel unsupported. Mike explained he felt like there was a huge gap between us now, and he will never be equal to me. He told me there was no reason for me to hide such a big secret from him. At this point, I got angry. I corrected him, saying he was asking for handouts. I mentioned our previous conversation of how he said that I could have helped with his car and gas. I explained the money he so desperately wanted wasn't even mine, it's my family's. I told him that he wasn't entitled to the money my parents spent over 2 decades earning. I couldn't just bail him out of whatever problems he has with money. I went back to how I did support him, just not financially. I'm ashamed to admit that I did kind of lose my cool here and almost started yelling. After that, I calmed down and explained that I would never shame him for his struggles. My family never has either. They love him. We don't care about how much money someone has. We talked for some more, but I eventually told him I wanted to break up. It wasn't because he was upset I hid my wealth, but it was for digging into my family members' lives. I told him that it was extremely invasive, and I couldn't forgive that, and I couldn't feel comfortable around someone who would do that. It was a breach of trust for me. Mike also told me he wanted to break up since he didn't feel comfortable in a relationship where the financial gap is so big and that our lives were just too different. We ended the conversation and parted ways. The good thing is, he goes to a different school, so I won't be seeing him around. Part of me feels sad, since I do love him. It was my first relationship and I wanted it to work, but I also feel relieved because I wasn't sure if I could take whatever Mike would do if I stayed. I really didn't like him snooping in my family's lives. I'm wondering if I made a mistake ending the relationship now, and it really sucks. Was I too harsh? I'm not even sure. I don't think I'll be dating anytime soon. I'm not too eager now. And just to be clear, I don't hate Mike. I do think that he probably just never saw money like ours, or that he was just shocked in general. And I get that he is 16, and I'm sure he will grow out of this mentality. I hope he does have a better life, but I can't continue with him. I don't like that he tried to dig in my family members' lives. We talked and decided to break up. I couldn't forgive him for digging through my family's lives like that, and I wasn't comfortable to be with someone like that. Mike broke up with me since he felt our financial gap was too big to handle. It was a mutually agreed breakup. I also wanted to clarify some things. A lot of people were asking about the car. Mike's car is old and used, and it was gifted to him by his uncle since he doesn't use it anymore. It's about 8 years old. Mike didn't buy the car. Mike doesn't know the true value of my parents' money. That's why he was digging around. It seems like people on Reddit thought that I was perceived middle class or poor. I never was. Mike and others knew I lived a life that was well off. I just never talked about money, that's all. Mike does not know about my parents' other assets. He started thinking we had more money than he thought because he found out about the vacation home. That's why he tried digging through my family's information. He still doesn't even know close to anything since my parents keep their assets secret. Even I don't know them. People don't start digging into you until you give them a reason to. Okay, so apparently 8 years is not old for a car. Sorry, I don't know how cars work, but it's been heavily used anyway. Now for a few comments. First commenter says, NTA, I see red flags. You are right to keep your family's finances private. You know what's theirs is theirs. Another commenter adds, an 8-year-old car is basically brand new, especially if it's made in 2016. That's just ridiculous. You absolutely made the right move. You'll process this. It'll hurt, it'll suck, but you will get stronger and wiser because of all this. Awesome. You stuck to your convictions and what you believed, and good on you for understanding your worth. Good luck. Then another commenter says, my car is 14 years old and runs fine unless you live in the salt mines. 8 is nothing. Someone else chimes in, so true. I drive a 2010 Toyota Camry and will do so until it finally dies. 1, because I like not having a car payment, and 2, it still looks and drives great even having 145k miles on it. Another commenter remarks, OP, I hate to break it to you, but this relationship was done the moment he asked for a handout and said he wasn't asking for a handout. This is code for, give me money, but I don't have to thank you because it's not a handout. Being turned into your boyfriend's piggy bank is not healthy. I wish you the best of luck for future relationships. This was your first relationship, and whatever mistakes you made are well within the normal range. Doing things wrong is normal, and the first one hurts the most when it fails, and it usually fails. It's also pretty normal to find out the first guy you date is not compatible with you. Am I the idiot for physically confronting my manipulative brother-in-law after he threatened my suicidal sister? I'm a woman, Bado. Sorry, I forgot to add this. Long story short, I always hated my brother-in-law. He's the type of man who thinks he's the main character and a total freak. Here it's pretty popular for a man to make podcasts that encourage other men to be alpha males, and I think he watches that kind of content. Months ago, my sister's husband decided to open the marriage, and like all men do on those occasions, he got into a couple with a young girl who's in college. The girl was very rude and irritating the few times I saw her. My brother-in-law has her living in their home with them. Obviously, I've noticed my sister feeling uncomfortable and depressed to the point that she doesn't invite anyone to her house anymore except me. Only I know about the open relationship. My sister has been depressed lately. A few days ago, I went to visit her because she felt sick, and she confessed to me that she has been having suicidal thoughts. She used to have them during HS2. She even tried to do it a few times. Her husband threatened to leave her if she didn't open the marriage, and she only stays quiet to please him, but she feels dirty having to share her husband. She even cried, saying that she hates him and is just disgusted by him. She said she feels trapped and just wants to die. My brother-in-law was hearing that outside the bedroom, and he instantly started getting defensive, saying that no human is monogamous, and it's normal for men to want to frick younger women, and it's normal for women to look for older men. The whole scene was disturbing. My sister was crying and shaking as he yelled at her and tried to convince her to shut up and just accept the new reality of the couple. It reminded me of my father, who had the same behavior with our mother. That manipulative way of speaking brought back too many memories. It was an aggressive and really ugly moment. At that moment, I lost my sanity a bit when I saw my sister in that state. He was gripping her arm tightly and yelling like crazy, so I threw myself on top of him and started to hit him. Before doing that, I was yelling at him to stop it, but he ignored me totally. Something you should know is that he has a colostomy. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. He must live with a bag. So between the hits, I ended up hurting him there. So he had to be taken to the hospital to fix the bag. Nothing too serious. The instant he was on the floor hurt, my sister started defending him. Now she is angry with me, saying that I shouldn't have been violent with him and he didn't deserve that. I've never been a violent person, but I have police training so I know where to hit. It's not like I almost ended the life of him, but he will have bruises. I don't understand why my sister is defending him. She's even with him right now. Is it because of the hurtful situation she is in? I really don't know what to think, because at first she hated him, and now he's an angel in her eyes. I'm really confused and even frustrated about this, mostly because I worry about my sister's mental health. She even talked about wanting to divorce him. She told me that she wants to leave him, so now I don't understand anything because I thought that at this point he would be my soon-to-be ex-Bill. If someone went through a situation like this, I would be grateful if they gave me some advice on what I can do, because at this point I feel lost, frustrated, and worried. Now for a few important comments. I'm happy you were able to get out of that situation. To this day, my mother continues to have an hurtful relationship with my father, and I see many of the behaviors that my mother had reflected on my sister as if the cycle repeated again. Thank you so much for your comment. Really, thank you, since what I wanted to hear the most was the advice of people who have gone through a situation similar to my sister's, which is not very common. I will try as much as I can to help her and convince her to move in with me and let me help her. I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that, and I hope you and your child can live a happy life from now on. About the brother-in-law's girlfriend. I don't really find it very strange because I even have friends who sleep with older men for money. Even my sister says that the girl is actually very smart with what she's doing. She got free rent in a comfortable house and he buys her what she wants. My sister never complains, so the girl is basically living her best life there. She's obviously not with him for love since the few times I've seen her, she's been rude even to him. A weird dynamic. Now that I think about it, it's kind of a sugar daddy thing. I don't know because he talks about her like my girlfriend. About the laws in her country and her work, I'll start inviting her to therapy. I have no problem paying for her sessions, and I think it will do her good overall. Thank you. I'm a cop. I really hope he doesn't try again to treat her like that, because I've told him many times what I've seen, what prisoners and even cops do in police stations with abusers. We've had short courses on how to help women in domestic violence situations, but that's it, since they're just protocol courses. To be honest, it's pretty stupid the way they handle the laws here in terms of abused women cases. Many times, other cops only go to the house of the victim who called 911, and they leave again when the husband says everything is fine and that it's just a couple's fight. And many of them don't even take up the complaints of these women against their husbands. Many women have died because of these cops. Now for the 2-month update. Hi, the truth is that I was going to delete this account, but until now I receive messages from people asking me how my sister is doing, and also many people helped me with messages and comments. Even now, I'm still in contact with some girls who helped me and my sister. I had to delete the first update to edit some private info. My sister is okay and living with me. My family knows about everything now. I have translated into our language some of the books that were recommended to me. They were very helpful, and I had no idea that books of that type existed. She's my sister. I knew she wasn't going to stay mad at me for too long. My sister is taking baby steps to get better every day. She now feels ready to talk about divorce with that jerk, but obviously, we'll be with her all the time. I talked to a psychologist friend who recommended that I not pressure her and just accompany her. And that's what I'm doing. My sister is seeing a psychologist and is on psychiatric medication. I don't want to go into detail about the husband who's my soon-to-be ex-brother-in-law who only keeps causing troubles, but legally, he can't get close to my sister now, neither legally or outside the law. I'm sorry if someone was expecting a juicy update, but the truth is that I think it was too much to have hurt my brother-in-law's bag. I don't regret it. If this makes someone happy, a few weeks ago, when my sister was just coming to her senses, he came to my house to make a mess, and my sister faced him for the first time. She told him everything. For now, I hope things keep getting better, even if it's just by taking baby steps. I'm finally seeing my sister as before, talking like always and happier. We know that she went through something very traumatic, and we must always be by her side. And that is what we are going to do. Take care of her and pamper her. Also, I didn't mean to make people who have to live with a bag feel bad. It's really normal for me. It's not disgusting to see someone with one. My brother-in-law is the disgusting one. The bag doesn't smell, and you can't see it under the clothes. It bothered me a bit that in the comments, some made fun of it. People with bags can live a normal life too. The problem with my brother-in-law is that he's not a good person. Please insult my brother-in-law, but not the people who suffer from that. I have an aunt who also had a bag, and she lives a normal life. Am I the idiot for telling my husband our intimacy is boring and predictable? For background, I, female 25, and my husband, 27 meme, have been together for 7 years. Lately, we have been having intimacy once a month, and by lately I mean the past 3 years. We have 2 young kids, so obviously we won't be going at it every day, but it's not nearly enough. He attempts to initiate it majority of the time, but I turn him down a lot. I thought I have no intimacy drive, but I recently realized I do. I am just not turned on by the way things are initiated, so to me, it ends up feeling like a chore. Last night, I worked up the courage to talk about it and told him I was not happy with our intimacy life, and it feels like it's gotten a little boring and predictable, and he did not take it well. He immediately got angry, defensive, and it ended up with me sleeping on the couch. He tried to fight me on that, but he wouldn't even touch me in bed, so I felt not wanted there. Today we tried to talk about it again, but he still feels his reaction is justified, and I'm putting it all on him. I said last night and again today that I need to be better about not saying no, but it's not just about that for me. It's just that the way I am turned on has changed. I understand being upset. My feelings would be hurt if it was turned around, but I don't understand the anger from the initial reaction, and I can't let it go. We keep going in circles trying to talk. I'm so upset today and feel like I should have never even said anything. I never want to bring up anything bad about our intimacy life again. What should I do? Now for a few comments. Overrated new 423. How do you initiate, and how often? Sounds like you need him to do everything. I think it's great to talk about it, but def give specific things you want him to try. Just giving insults will never go well. I don't often at all, which I did acknowledge and own up to. However, I did state the new things I would like him to try, and he felt like it was all on him, which I tried to clarify was not, and I need to be better about initiating and trying new things. Lord of the Flagon. I've been rebuffing my husband for years, but it's all his fault, and I'm not willing to initiate or make any change myself. That's exactly how your post and replies read to a guy. Oopie. I didn't say I wouldn't make any changes. The conversation never got to that point. He walked off. Lord of the Flagon. You told him new things you wanted him to do, not what you would change. I did tell him that I would change, though, is what I'm trying to say. 10,000 steps. So not only are you rejecting your husband most times that he initiates, and he probably doesn't feel desired, but you also complain about your inadequate intimacy life. I can understand why your husband would be upset. You're putting this all on him to fix, but you admitted yourself that you don't initiate and that you need to put in more effort. It's great that you are communicating with him, but that conversation could have gone a lot better had you not put all the blame on him. He likely feels like damned if I do, damned if I don't at this point. He actually did use those words, damned if I do, damned if I don't. I can definitely see how I could have approached it better and the work I need to be putting in as well. I did think acknowledging that I have to be better was adequate, but I should have gone into more detail. You are right. Now for the 3-hour update. This is for the husbands. What do you guys like? I want to initiate more than just saying you want to. Some creative new ideas would be good. We've been together 7 years, so need to spice it up. Now for a few comments. Mearshadow 1. For me, actions work better than words. Walk out with no bra on and just walk over and stroke his arm or leg. Bending over to stroke his leg really works. Also, while he's standing, back up into him and start rubbing. No words needed. Good luck. Sharp Platform 8958. Be naked. It doesn't take much more than that. Now for the one-day update. I wanted to thank everybody for the kind words and tough love on my post yesterday, venting about my intimacy life with my husband. I apologized to my husband and told him that I can understand how my approach upset him and took responsibility on my shortcomings when it comes to our intimacy. The conversation went really well and, safe to say, very effective. Twice last night and once this morning, and it very much did not feel boring, LOL. I have never posted on Reddit before, and truly didn't think that one little post could really make a positive impact on my marriage. Sometimes you really have to hear you're wrong from someone besides the one you're upset with to actually understand. Thank you again, everybody. Now for a few comments. Throw RA099. Excellent news. Did you initiate these encounters? Betty absolutely loved it if you did. 2 of them I did. Throw RA99. Well done. Happy for you too. Coming from another man, he's going to be walking on clouds today. Initiating intimacy makes most men feel supremely validated and desired. Keep it up, but it shouldn't be just you initiating or just him all of the time. There's a give and take and a push and shove dynamic that once you two are in sync, you'll get it. Consistency and open communication are the two most important things moving forward to make this sustainable. Foxy River, I doubt anything changes this fast. Maybe you're trying to save face because majority of the comments from yesterday told you how you're the villain in your own story. How did you suddenly have a change of heart or beliefs overnight after 3 long years? All I'm saying is, until you fix the fundamental issues that made you intimacy starve your husband for 3 years, your newfound libido might not last. This seems like what we often see when a man finally decides to leave an intimacy-starved marriage. Wife suddenly finds her lost libido overnight and wants to give all the intimacy in the world, but we know it doesn't last. It's back to the status quo after 2 months. Well, hate to break it to you, but some people can actually take criticism very well and do something about it. And having a very healthy, understanding conversation with someone you really love can lead to fixing problems right away. Who would need to save face to a bunch of strangers who have no idea who I am?